welcome back to Saturday Night Ladies. I am Deej Barons.
I'm Shari Fesco.
I'm Demi Constantine.
And our special guest today, we have the complete complement of the Wacky Notion Productions team. We have Casey Killingsworth from We Heart Hater.
Thanks, Deej. It's great to be here, and it's my honor to be the first straight, white, cis male guest on Saturday Night Lady. But I politely asked Deej if I could be on this episode as a guest, and she said yes, and I wanted to be on this episode for a specific reason, which I'll get to in a moment.
We welcome all genders, because while we are mostly this is about the female perspective, we still love our allies. So those who have the respect for women in comedy, be you a they, them, he, she, whatever you want to be. As we say, get your big dumb cup, put on your big dumb hats, and let's talk about SNL.
All right. Well, we'll start with the cold open that was in the Oval Office. Oh, surprise, surprise, a political cold open. So here we go. And the night begins. It looks like in this one, and if I don't get all the cast members, forgive me, but I do my best. Marcelo, Mikey, Andrew, Jadge, a bunch of extras, probably people from behind the scenes to fill out the Oval Office. And the scene is set. Another, do I need to say it? Another Trump monologue, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was going to be a little more of the pharmaceutical setup, but not much. Just a quick little bit from Mikey, and then in comes Jadge.
I know I'm supposed to watch everything for when we talk about it in the pod and all that, but these days I see Trump in the cold open, I just tune out. I can't help it.
I mean, it was a very bold, kind of risky choice to base a cold open off of that footage where a guy collapsed and fell to the ground during Trump's big press conference with RFK and Dr. Oz and talking about pharmaceuticals. But I think it kind of naturally led itself to that. I mean, you probably shouldn't be expecting something that drastically different from like 99% of these J.J. Trump cold opens they've done the past 3 seasons. But there were it was a thing like, how could you not do it, since, you know, in real life, Trump was just standing off to the side, almost like a tenth of the way to the real Trump doing one of these J.J. cold opens. And there were like, you know, slight touches of variance from him here. I liked him like stepping over the guy, and if you're taking him to get an MRI, take my punch card and I'll get the next one free.
I will say as a positive for that, they got the tableau like exactly right, because we've all seen the images of that happening. I was really impressed that they got it, like they turned like a headline photo into like an interactive diorama almost. So I do give them props for that. They said it was a pretty good analogy for what's going on, and like I agree with that. So like I said, I've said this before, I don't know if this is controversial or not, but I like political takes that are instantly stale, because it's like a time capsule of what was happening in the country at that time. So I don't really mind political cold opens. I don't like seeing, what I don't like about it is I don't think Jaj like is super psyched to be doing this over and over again. So it kind of feels like he's wearing like dirty underwear. Like he doesn't really want to do it, but he has to do it. It's like, so, yeah, I mean, if they weren't doing it, I'd be like, why aren't they talking about this? And are we just going to pretend it's not really happening? What's going on? So I guess, I don't know.
I think if it was any other president than Trump, I'd be able to handle these better. But it's all about the Trump that I get overloaded from real life, and I would like a break from that once in a while.
It is appreciated when they don't put Trump in the cold open. I mean, I think, even I appreciate that.
Like Casey said so brilliantly, this is what we're getting. So we kind of have to expect it. We all knew we were probably going to get it. We did 4 years of this before here in the States. SNL reflects what's going on, and he's in office, and that's what's going on. So, c'est la vie. Now I'm ready to talk about the monologue.
And before we get into that, I'll just mention that really Nikki being the host of this episode was the reason why I asked to be a guest, because I've been a fan of hers for a little over a decade. I've one of my favorite comedians, male or female, and I've followed her stand-up career to see, how Nikki has this crossover appeal to male and female audiences.
And I mainly know Nikki Glaser from Trainwreck. She was in the baby shower scene.
I know her from Conan. Like, Conan loves her so much, like, genuinely appreciates her, and, like, doesn't, like, he gasses her up, but, like, he sincerely really likes her. And I'm like, what is the, I don't know what it is, but I'm like, but if Conan was gonna write for Nikki Glaser, then I'll write for Nikki Glaser, because I mean, I don't distrust anything I don't distrust his taste. And I think there's got to be something with, like, growing up repressed and hearing, like, a woman be so artful with sex jokes and so free with them, that maybe that's something appealing. Yeah, and David Spade doing a tour with her, or he was, and he just spoke so well of her all the time. Like, she's great. Like, period. Like, it's not even discussion. Like, yeah, she's great. I love working with her. He just brings her up all the time.
And just to jump on what Demi said, it is that thing. If you've seen her stand up, you know this. You know how she's gained a lot of respect from her male and female peers in comedy. It's that she has that thing where she can be honest and vulnerable and fearless, and that's basically what a comedy audience wants. They don't really care so much about whether you made them laugh as how much you let them get to know you as a person. Because if you open yourself up to be vulnerable, then your audience relates to you better that way, and then they understand who you are, and you let them in, they feel safe enough with you to laugh at really dirty jokes, and that's what draws them up.
I kind of see her as more of a slightly more demure Ali Wong, because Ali Wong has a lot of that kind of content in her shows, but she's a bit more exuberant about it. But they both have much different tastes, which is what every comedian should have.
And onto this specific monologue. Yes, you again, you do see how she, commands the stage, even in Studio State 8H. I like this, but I feel like I might prefer one of her previous specials to it for how safe for TV this material had to be. I mean, I was used to seeing her start off with raunchy sex jokes up top, and then transition into more serious relationship stuff. And she did the opposite here, even though she's on live television and she has to have a big raunchy finish to keep the energy going through the rest of the show. It feels odd to see her do the opposite of what I'm used to seeing, but it is SNL, so you have to make adjustments that work for the rest of the show when you're doing a stand-up monologue. And I say this from experience too, because I actually was in the audience for her 2022 special, Good Clean Filth, which you can see on HBO Max. She taped that at the Paramount Theater in Denver, and I went to go see her and to say I was in the audience for something that was being filmed for TV. As far as her material, I mean, I wasn't that into the Trump spray tan stuff up top until she transitioned into the insane tan lung class action lawsuit commercial. My biggest laughs of this that came out of nowhere were the stuff about her nails and her short boyfriend. She does her nails for her boyfriend. He doesn't care, and he's so short I have to put the gun on the top shelf. The showering with her nephew stuff was the perfect thing to end this on, although I think it's not gotten the best reaction from everyone.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I actually remember her, Casey. She had a show on Comedy Central for like 2.5 seconds.
Oh, so you're probably thinking of Not Safe with Nikki Glaser, which was on around like early 2016, and it was a show that did a lot of sex stuff.
Yes.
And it's worth checking out if you can find it on Paramount Plus or wherever Comedy Central stuff is.
The one joke I did get a kick out of was to put some rhinestones on my nails so to be ribbed for his pleasure.
The first sketch of the night, which was karaoke night, and we had Sarah and Tommy as the couple around yet another table, which is becoming a regular, well, it's not becoming, it's been a regular thing. So it's Sarah and Tommy. Tommy's introducing his girlfriend to his parents. The it couple, as Deej calls them, Andrew and Ashley as the parents, all grayed up. Nikki is the sister, and Keenan is the Andre, the DJ or the karaoke host?
That is a KJ.
A KJ. Oh, thank
Karaoke jockey.
Karaoke jockey. Okay. And hijinks ensues. I am a karaoke fiend myself, really into it, or I was really into it, especially anything Eminem. I'm absolutely obsessed with Eminem.
What?
So
Rap God, Sheridan
yeah,
Rap God.
So I had an appreciation for this, and there's always that uncomfortable karaoke that just makes you go. "Ugh." So this I felt was very resonant. What did the three of you think? Who wants to take it next?
Yes, they were around the table, but they did actually get up from the table for a portion of it. The kind of things that they're doing, I definitely instantly think of the vocal check. Personally, I think the vocal checks did it better. As soon as the brother and sister got up, I instantly knew where this was going. But I got some laughs out of it. But yeah, it's not one of the best ones of the night, but it does a job.
Yeah, I gotta go with Deej in that I could tell this was just headed toward LOL oblivious to incest vibes, not just from knowing how SNL sketches are written, but knowing Nikki's stand up. And I saw her do a good clean filth routine where she talked about how she in real life she apparently had been kissing her dad on the lips and she was until she was 26, and one time she did it in front of a boyfriend and then the wires got crossed and she knew she was doing something wrong. And apparently Tommy Brennan is a stand-up who I had heard has gone on tour with Nikki, so I could see how this got on. And like this and his weekend update piece from last month, they're like the only two Tommy centric things so far in his tenure, and already like slightly divisive, but this didn't really sway my opinion of him either way. Yeah, he's all right. I just haven't gotten a beat on him as a sketch performer yet. I do like Sarah Sherman as a cast member, and I like how she sold the shock and horror of it all here. But I'm really not crazy of this trend of just relegating Sarah to the role of the straight woman who sits at a table and just reacts. They sold it, and I did like how the whole sketch ground to a halt after Sarah's line. He's an obvious Boys to Men needle drop. He's humping his sister, and then the music stops, and then Dismukes and Ash are like, "What?" They leaned into it. Yeah, the bit about them sleeping in the same room until college and getting separate beds at 17 felt like a Nikki punchline. Dismuke's dad singing Too Close with Nikki was fun, and Tommy singing You Got a Friend in Me. Nikki deeply tongue kisses Sarah, which I was okay with, but they were like, then did like a couple of beats too long, and those two beats were like in between beats that worked. So it was just a very oddly paced sketch at the end.
I mean, I have a theory about these kinds of sketches. I think they put these couple restaurant table sketches in the beginning because they want to hook more conservative viewers. So viewers that, maybe don't watch SNL on the regular, they're like, oh, family dinner, I can relate to that. And then it does not end like that at all. I did think parts of it were, but I thought it was the most Nikki coded sketch of the night. Like you were saying, Casey, I think I don't know if she had a part with writing it, but it did seem the most. I was like, oh, I think I haven't really heard her do stand up, but I've heard her talk about this on podcasts. So I was like, oh, this seemed a lot of the sketches were kind of evergreen or could have been done by a lot of different kinds of hosts. But I thought that one, like, this one's for Nikki, I think.
Deej has said they do certain sketch formats because they work, and they've done so many like seemingly normal family dinner type sketches that lead into you thinking, okay, some writer or possibly the host is blatantly working through their own fucked up family trauma because it works. It works for the writer of the sketch more than the audience, but it works for someone.
Well, we're moving along nicely. Yes, first pre-tape of the night. Spirit Tunnel Anxiety. This was another one of those drug company ripoffs that, again, are a staple of the show. Nikki is pretty much the star here, talking about how she loves Jennifer Hudson, but she's not sure how she's going to handle the spirit tunnel. I wasn't that familiar with this. And, Jennifer Hudson's been around a while, so it's not anything new. It was funny. I mean, as Casey's saying so eloquently, she's very funny. And I'm glad they gave her a pre-tape very much giving her the spotlight. So I enjoyed that.
Kind of came at this from the same space that you did, Shari. Heard the Jennifer Hudson Spirit Tunnel, and I thought this might be something I've seen like one or two clips of on Twitter, just removed from any real context, not knowing what it was. I didn't even remember Jennifer Hudson still has a morning show until I saw this. I don't even remember if Kelly Clarkson or Drew Barrymore still have theirs. There's just so many morning shows that come and show.
It's a daytime show. It's daytime. It's not morning. It's like afternoon. Because I used to watch all those shows, and it replaced. There was a foursome. It was all women, and then Jennifer Hudson. So I don't think it's a morning show. I think it's an afternoon show, like right around the court shows, like around that time.
Basically, yeah, daytime television. Where the Jerry Springer used to be.
Yeah. I was going to say one thing I really liked about it. Like, one, it did seem to be like the inverse of Racial Attention Headache with Queen Latifah. Like, she did that. I think that was like probably like 10 years ago. I thought it was really funny. But what made this funny was like, oh, I'm an uncoordinated white woman who can't dance. And I was like, LOL, that's so funny. It was so original. But then when she actually did the dances, it was like, oh, you are right to be concerned. Like, because the dances were like, I'm into it, but I'm not good at dancing. And it was the perfect balance. So I thought her dancing sold that pre-tape for me.
Mentioning that she has no ass, because she has no ass.
She did a great job of trying to dance like she has an ass, but knowing she has no ass. Like that was really good.
I love a good commercial parody, and they've been so few and far between lately. So I'm glad they're bringing this back. This has shades of Xanax for Gay Summer Weddings, another great one I loved. But the Spirit Tunnel, yeah, I think that's slightly inspired by Soul Train, because they used to do that dancing down the line thing. And this is just a way to hype up the people during the show. They have all crew members and other people on either side of the hall. The person dances down the line, and they make up a little chat about them. No, Wiley did an interview recently. He basically did not want to do the tunnel for those exact same reasons. So I can definitely see where it would
funnier. That's so much funnier.
Cal did it, but even then he wasn't really doing much. He was almost doing a Trump-like dance.
I've only seen the good ones. Only the good ones go viral. Like, so I only see like the celebrities that do it right, and I'm like, oh, how cute. It never occurred to me that there are celebrities that are like, I don't want to do this.
Well, I'll just add a few things. The specific fake ad that this reminded me of was Flaherty from season 38, where we had Trad and Sudeikis and Armisen and Moynihan and Hader. So we could talk about this later, but in case we don't, it's a pill that helps you lie. If you say you're allergic to gluten or cigarette smoke or yogurt or Italians or small penises, it just gives you symptoms to support your lie that you're allergic to these things.
When you're not, yeah.
Right. And the twist to this is just it's a pill that makes you sick, so violently ill that you can't possibly go on any show instead of curing your anxiety to do the dance, which is a nicer twist. And I like that leading into the twist of this can go to someone else who really wants it, like Marcelo, also playing himself. But finally, overall, the thing that makes this work for me, these Spirit Tunnel videos aren't a huge viral phenomenon yet, but they're enough of one. Nikki would have saw him, and this idea popped into her mind. So it's another idea that feels very specific to Nikki Glaser's mind palace, and only she could have done it herself. But I do agree with John Schneider's take from the Hot Take show that what could have saved this a bit was if they maybe bought in a cameo and one impression, not one of Chloe's, just another impression, because fake commercial has like one testimonial. You got to throw a few people in there to add some variance in this, so that might have made it feel less static and more interesting to watch.
Well, one thing I thought of through this is you could never do this with Canadian drug commercials, because we have certain laws here where you can't even say what the drug is for. You can say the name of the drug.
I just asked. I asked. just asked.
Is Ozempic right for you? Just ask your doctor or visit.
So it doesn't give you a lot to go on. It's just a weird Canada thing, I guess.
I love that this is a cross-cultural podcast, and I love that about We Heart Hater too, because you get two very different perspectives. So I'm glad we have an international regular on our podcast because it just shows you the different perspectives.
And I'm very proud to be Canadian. So it's yay gay marriage, yay legal weed, all that fun stuff.
Wait, all weed is legal?
Yeah.
I'm from Colorado, so I'm with you on the legal weed thing, Deej.
I'm proud to be an American sometimes, but anyways, we won't get into that. But anyways, live sketch number 2, Beauty and Mr. Beast. And speaking of trendy online stuff, I actually knew about Mr. Beast. I was pretty excited because for some random reason, he comes up in my feed like as a suggestion to watch when I'm on my Roku. I don't know why, but he does. So I sort of knew. I didn't realize it was a competition thing, but I knew he did a lot of wacky stuff. Ben kind of having a golden night tonight on this episode. Really funny here. He does a great job with it, and he's got the stature to be Mr. Beast. He's tall, and I believe that gentleman is tall as well. So I thought this worked very well. I thought it was quite funny, and I was just so excited that I actually knew a current pop culture trend. I kind of wanted to give myself like a big gold star. So that was exciting. So what did you think, Casey? I feel like I don't like to put genders on things, but I have a feeling that this Mr. Beast thing kind of skews to the male audience. Am I correct or am I incorrect?
I mean, from what I've seen, it's not what gender he skews towards, more it's what age group he skews towards. Because my only real context for this guy is like these branded snacks and energy drinks and stuff that I keep seeing his name on whenever I go to any store. And I tried some of his chocolates and they weren't that bad, but just I know him more as like a candy salesman than a YouTuber. And I'm only vaguely aware that he's a YouTuber who's, aims his content at Gen Zers, because from this sketch, what I gleaned from this whole sketch is that his whole thing is, I'm going to make these random people do weird ass challenges for amounts of money that are less than what I should probably be giving to these people because of my obscene fucking wealth, because I'm a YouTuber in 2025. I got a kick out of this, even as like sweatily rushed together as it was. It felt like a non-idea someone blurted out when they were called on by Lauren at the Monday pitch meeting. And I think like Nikki and Keenan and Bowen's costumes reflect the slapdash nature of this. Well, I like that they're getting out of Ben Marshall as a cast member. They found an impression that he can legitimately pull off. It kind of reminded me of like when Alex Moffat played Tucker Carlson, or recently when Andrew Dismukes played Ken Jennings from Jeopardy. It's a case of someone having too much of a soul or too much life in their eyes or too much charisma to play whoever they're playing. I mean, I've seen enough of Mr. Beast to be able to tell that Ben got this dude's dead-eyed rictus grin dead on. I mean, other than that, kind of felt like another sketch where here's this viral phenomenon we're going to explain to you for the sole purpose of saying, hey, these people are obscenely wealthy because nothing means anything anymore in this world and we're all going to hell and fuck the world. I don't know if anyone remembered the Mad cartoon show from the early 2010s, but if that were still on Cartoon Network today, this would have been right at home there. And Nikki's line of saying to him, I don't know what it is about you, but I feel like I could listen to you for 8 hours straight, leading into Keenan and Bowen singing You're Depressed to Be Our Guest. That's like straight out of a Family Guy cutaway. There was a gag about this being from the makers of Kai Cenat's Casablanca. And I vaguely know who he is enough that I got a chuckle out of that. But my biggest laugh of this maybe my second biggest laugh of the whole show was the one time a fake review gag in an SNL sketch was legitimately funny, and it was, "I don't get it," says every person over 25. Well, not every person, because we found Shari and she gets it. So congratulations, we're proud of you for that.
Do a lot of philanthropic. He raised $20 million for the Arbor Day Foundation to build trees, raising money for ocean conservancy and the ocean cleanup. I haven't watched Mr. Beast. I mean, it's just been sort of in the periphery of my pop culture stuff. I know enough that it's not something I'd watch, but I know enough that he is popular, and I can't help but be reminded of the Beauty and the Beast sketch from the Gerard Butler episode. We just like a big fat ass. Yeah, that was the season when Jenny Slate was a cast member. She was Mrs. Potts. Personally, I think Bill makes a better Lumiere, but that's just me.
Those were. I really really wanted more. Was that Keenan as Cogsworth and Bowen as Lumiere? I was like, more of this. Yeah, I only know Mr. Beast from news articles and from YouTube thumbnails. So like, this time Mr. Beast has gone too far. I'm like, what? And then I'll read a Financial Times article about how rich he is, and I'm like, I guess he's fine. I guess people are still watching him, whatever it is. So, but I think the under 25 thing was a crack about because I guess Somber, which I don't know when the transition is coming, but Somber I guess he's 20 and he was performing at a show and one of the fans was 25, and I guess it went viral because he was in shock that somebody that old would like his music, and everyone's like, 25 isn't old. So throughout the entire night on Reddit, everybody was making it very clear, I'm over 25 and I like this. And I'm like, I don't care. Oh, and then somebody explained more context. I don't even know what sphere that enters. Like, for me as an observer, like, I'm not even aware of this joke. I don't even want to be a part of it. I don't know what category that puts me in, but.
Well, his current subscriber count is 450 million.
Yep.
Wow. That's
so
a lot
he's
of
doing
people.
fine. He's doing fine.
Speaking of things that SNL loves to skewer, I think this is the third or fourth American Girl doll sketch they've done in the past, maybe 10 years. I guess it's a rich well. And this American Girl doll XL was no exception. I thought this was really funny. Ben Marshall stealing the show here with his comment about the realistic feet. I love that. The way he delivered it with like this totally straight face. I thought that was the line of the whole thing, but it was all pretty humorous. I love the butter churning. I mean, it was a lot of fun. What did you think, Deej? Did you find this as silly as I did?
Definitely took a really weird ass turn, which is natural. Previous American Dolls were the Travis Kelce one, which I really like that one. And I think that, yeah, there was the other one with all the American Doll, with all the female cast members playing various American Dolls with more realistic backgrounds, like they're I have cholera. And I'm an escaped slave. It's like, ooh, dear, serious. But yeah, it definitely, I think I kind of expected the turn it took. JJ takes kind of control of the whole thing. Nikki said, "Okay, I'm out. Enough about this." So, it's not near the heights of the previous commercial type thing, but it was still pretty good.
For me, it's not so much that SNL has done 4 American Girl doll sketches in the past 8 years. It's that 3 of those 4 have evolved around grown adult men behaving inappropriately and creeping people out in an American Girl store. Because there was also the one with Saoirse Ronan and Mikey Day. It's weird that they've done that 3 times, but I think this improves on the Travis Kelce and Mikey Day ones just by being a pre-tape and having just rapid fire pacing and time. Like, there's too many specific moments to pick out because of it was just so jam-packed. But I'll say that, like, Nikki's concerned sideways looks at them were timed and executed flawlessly. And of course, my biggest laugh of the whole show was JHA just suddenly barging in to take over the spokesperson role from an increasingly creeped out Nikki. Not just because I've come dangerously close to doing that myself on this podcast like 3 times already, but he got me.
Well, I think he was claiming ownership, like, oh no, we're not even gonna pretend this is just a sex toy thing. So I will say, the American Girl star trope, I know SNL maybe has done it a lot, but Conan's done it. They did it during the 50th with John Lovitz. They put him in there in the audience. And when I lived in Chicago, there was like a mile away from us was an American Girl doll store, and it is insane. Like, it is like a full on, like, multi-story, right next to the Macy's. It's just for American Girl doll clothing. Like, and there are homeless people outside, and there are doll store. It's like, it's such a weird juxtaposition, but it's huge. It is, and it's this huge brand identity. So I can and I guess there is one right by 30 Rock. So I guess I can kind of see why that would be a well-tread trope. But what I did like about this sketch, it's a razor thin premise, like, oh, adult girl dolls for women to make you confident. Like, okay, what is that? But it like immediately careened into sex toy doll stuff. Like, nope, this is it. Like, it just like, because the women references became smaller and smaller, and then it was like, nope, we're going to talk about her feet. We're going to talk about the way her hands are positioned. Like, oh, that's what this is. Okay. This is not even a real thing. Okay.
Or the put the clothing from the regular American Girl doll and put it on the XL doll.
Cam Patterson had a great line. I can pretend it's my brother's wife. Like,
I made her biracial.
that was funny. That was funny. And I did like how I kind of like it when SNL. I don't know how anyone else thinks about it, but I like it when SNL was like, this is the commercial for something. By the end of the commercial, you realize it will never air because they're like, we can't. This is not even what this is supposed to be for. Nope, we changed our mind. This is not real. JK, I kind of like it when it's a very easy get out of jail free card, you might think, but I kind of like that when they just decide, actually, this is not a real thing. This is not in the real universe. This is not real. It's just making fun of guys who like sex dolls, which I think is funny. So that's and I like how Nikki, like you guys were saying, had the perfect straight man, the perfect throw to whatever reaction was going to happen with somebody else that was going to be horrifying. I liked how she was able to be a backbone for the sketch without trying to hog the attention or be crazy and weird. Like, I want to be funny. Like, I thought she served the sketch really well. I really respect when comedians known for being brash or bawdy, when they can just like play a strong ensemble role. I really respect that. So,
all right. Well, now we go from Nikki being kind of the calm backbone to Nikki being the crazy drunk girl in our third live sketch of the night, which was Mechanical Bull. We're at a bachelorette party, Veronica's bachelorette party, and Jane confesses her love of Veronica and then disappears. Jane didn't have much of a night tonight, but when she was on, as usual, she was always very, very, very humorous. Always has those one lines, and then off she goes. But they're always a doozy of a one line. And I enjoyed the chemistry between Nikki and Sarah on this bull together. And Andrew trying to get them off, dressed in this hideous Western shirt and this bad, like, facial hair. So yeah, I this was another one I thought was quite a giggle fest, for lack of a better word. I really enjoyed the scenes where they're getting hit in the face with the fish, and it all worked for me. What did you think, Demi? Was this a giggle fest for you too?
Yes, I loved everything about this. It was very Gaga like a dry coated. But it didn't go into the studio. It was a little bit different. I loved how silly it was. It kind of kept eating itself, and I really like it when SNL does that. And I really liked it because it made fun of the hellfire strike of boats in Venezuela. I love it when SNL is like goes after stuff that the administration is doing by going ridiculous. I love it so much. So for me, I think this might have been my favorite of the night. It was just silly, saying something, but still silly. Very much appreciated. Very much like the spirit of it. Everybody was into it. Nobody did it too much. And maybe if they did, I don't know if that was even possible. So for me, 4 out of 4 stars. Great.
And I'll say I was hoping we get some kind of collab between Nikki Glaser and Sarah Sherman. And even though there was like a lot of details and a lot going on for a live sketch, it turned out to be quite fun for the sheer detail heavy absurdity of it. And I liked J.A.J. singing like an Arlo Guthrie Alice's Restaurant type score to this. It reminded me a lot of the train traveling riding the rails song from the Mystery Science Theater Girl in Lover's Lane episode, so that was fun. Jane made me laugh, remind me of the same thing she did in that Starbucks sketch with Timothy Chalamet. The fourth wall twist of them suddenly calling Sarah her real name. I may be the only person that noticed this blooper of when they were throwing panties at them, and then one of the stray pairs of panties was like sitting on the platform that Jeremy was supposed to lie and float on to play Galileo Galilei floating through space until someone caught it and brushed it off. And I think this also functions well as like the white trash companion piece to the two bitches versus gorilla sketch from last season's Quinta Brunson episode.
Oh, nice.
Now, I love the turns that this one took. Let's get more James singing, because he does it so well. The song, when they got to the song, that's when it really started going. But just before then, there was the keynote moments of, should I do this? I probably shouldn't do this, but nope, I'm gonna do it. And then the call back at the end, where basically says he's lost his job, which is understandable.
Yeah, this was a good time, and I enjoyed it, and I'm glad we all seem to be on the same page with all of these, really, pretty much. I think we're moving on to, is it time for the musical guest? I believe it is. It is Somber, who I did not know. I really enjoyed, because last week or a couple weeks ago we had Role Model, and Demi pointed out last week that he was very 90s. And this week I felt like Mr. Somber was very, very 70s. The outfit, the Mick Jagger dance moves. He seemed like he was like Mick Jagger when Mick Jagger was that age. And I asked my husband, I'm like, is this just me, or is he like a Mick Jagger, like not a wannabe, but he's borrowing a lot of his swag? And my husband's like, oh, totally. He doesn't sound anything like him. His voice is very different, but his look, and I loved it. I thought his whole shtick was very fun. He's got a great voice. I liked the song. It was very danceable. And I like both songs. I really like the second song because it told a story. And that is a trope, we're best friends and then we're sleeping together and now we can't be friends again. That is a big thing, especially for 20 somethings, I think. And so I gave this performance an A in my little notebook. I really enjoyed it. And I hope he comes back. I was impressed.
Yeah, he was very, very enjoyable, and I mean, obviously he's very inspired by things that people that are much older than him know. But his sound, I thought his sound was pretty original, and it wasn't like this. Like Role Model, I thought was it was heavily inspired by '90s alt rock, and Tom Petty, and John Mellencamp. But this guy, his look, yeah, but I do give him props for being original and have his own sound and he's kind of his own thing going on, and the cheekbones.
In some ways, he kind of reminds me of Micah, who did Big Girls, Grace Kelly, and he's incredibly tall, even taller than Ben Marshall. I love whoever stylist is doing a really great job. That wide leg red suit at the beginning was like, I like this guy. He's easy. He is easy on the eyes. And that first song, yeah, I got a lot of good, sort of post new romantic era '80s vibes from it. So I trying to. One of the things that doing this kind of podcast has helped with is I used to be one of those people that would say, okay, I'm not going to watch the musical guest because blah, blah, blah. But now I'm actually paying attention and finding some new stuff to listen to. So it's like, that's where I miss things. So I got to get back to that.
I loved him hanging off the fire escape too. I thought he was going to fall. I mean, he was very brave. He was way up there.
There's one point if I just go across the proscenium arch there.
I don't have much to say on Somber, except it's a lot more mellow and pleasant than what I was expecting from someone who I heard someone freaked out about one of their concerts because he was telling his audience, his young female audience, to bark for him. But I like the disco vibe of the first song. I guess he's just like a less deeply unserious version of Role Model, like a less unintentionally funny version of Role Model. I did see on the That Week in SNL Twitter feed that our good friend Andrew Dick was laughing at Somber as much as he laughed at Role Model, which okay, well that's him. So
all right, we're up to Weekend Update with Colin Jost and Michael Che and a special guest correspondent.
I do have a soft spot for Pete Davidson, I admit, not only from the train wreck connection, although the only thing he really did to upset me once, not that he meant to do it to me personally, but in his final episode, he did not thank Bill Hader. Because it was Bill Hader who recommended him to Lorne Michaels in the first place. They also alluded to this in the promo song done with Chris Redd, Melissa Villaseñor, and Pete Davidson.
Real stress, like he got me my job, I own my fucking life. I regret it.
That's my only one little Pete rant. I have a feeling that he's going on a trajectory of how much John Mulaney evolved once he had his first child with Olivia. I have tattoos. I have one big tattoo on my right calf of my former fuzzy one-eyed senior cat that I adopted. He's actually getting all his tattoos removed right now.
Yeah.
And he has a lot of them. I knew they have to do something about the whole ferry thing because they did come up in the news. I did like where they went for this was sort of like a second Staten Island.
That was funny.
That made sense. One part at the beginning we were saying, well, it's because of this ferry that I went and had to do things like a comedy festival in Dubai.
No, we didn't.
But yeah, I think he's just he always has a good sense of humor about himself, and the way he interacting with Colin, you can definitely tell they have a good friendship there.
I've never not loved Pete. Like I'm not like Pete's my favorite. Pete always makes me smile. I've never my friends are like, you're a Pete apologist. I'm like, I guess I've never not liked Pete. I'm always happy to see him on screen. I didn't know there was a 9/11 connection with his dad. I didn't know that for like 2 years. I've seen some of his stand-up. I saw him when he first started and he was like a baby. And I've seen him do interviews and like describe his struggles with addiction and stuff, and Ariana Grande and all like Kim Kardashian, which is just, it's really, I know it gets a lot of hate from men, I think, because he pulls such lovely looking ladies that I don't know how he does it either. And I don't really think about it. I'm just like, good for him. He's funny and broken, and I don't know. I guess some people like that. But even before all the girls, even before all of that, I always was like, he's a skinny stoner dude who's just kind of hanging out, who literally is Chad. I mean, I don't think he's like a high comedy or anything, but I've always liked him. I've always liked Pete.
There was an interview you heard this week, I can't remember where it was, where he was talking about doing that sketch with Lorraine Newman on the 50th. Chad was my one character, which is mostly based on me.
Yeah.
Now he has Chad and classic Pete.
Yeah. That was funny. So I was very happy to see him. I almost did not want to hear an explanation about the comedy festival because, like, I'm never gonna let him off the hook for that. But I'm glad he brought it up. I guess I don't know. But the Staten Island, he had better zingers in like his 5-minute appearance than like entire seasons. People said that on Reddit, and it's like I kind of agree. Like he had, I don't know if he wrote that himself or he had help or what, but he had zinger after zinger that were like really targeted, really good. Like Staten Island was the only borough that like went heavily for Cuomo over Mondami. So if you were following the election, it was like razor sharp, and he's from Staten Island. He's always dumping on it. So the time with having everyone move on to the ferry to become the new Staten Island, I thought that was a really great turn. I thought he just had really good one-liners. Like he was just really firing all cylinders. So if he's sober, it's working really well for him. That's all I can say.
By being on his first live TV show when he started, and he was 20 and I was 23 when he started. So, and I've actually seen him live too for Ariana Grande and all the string of famous women he's dated. About this update piece, I'll say that, I genuinely wasn't expecting Pete to come on and talk about this. Most things I've seen Pete do on and off SNL, I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. And with his jokes about his father's death, potential ice run-ins with Staten Islanders, and him and Jostin Che being potential Epstein clients in an episode hosted by Nikki Glaser, it's nice to see him come along, if for no other reason than just to an attempt at making gleefully dark humor a running theme throughout tonight's show. And in fact, Deej, I think both him and Nikki have the same Bill Hader train wreck connection. And at the special that I saw her tape, she does bring him up as the prime example of like male comedians excelling at, dating women way more out of their league than female comedians, and even more than male musicians and athletes. And she says, he's handsome, he's good looking, but is he handsome enough to date Ariana Grande, Kim Kardashian, Cindy Crawford? He should be dating me, says Nikki Glaser. And it just comes down to that thing she says of both men and women want a mate with a sense of humor, but women want men who make them laugh. Men want women who only laugh at their jokes. And I did like the joke where Pete says, one thing I learned from Lorne, never give up even when people say it's really time for you to go because Tina Fey's ready to take over.
That was a meta snack. That was for Reddit, I think.
I just want to say one thing, Casey, and my husband and I talked about this. She's gorgeous. Nikki Glaser is as gorgeous as any of the women Pete did. She's stunning. I mean, stunningly beautiful. I love it how all these self-deprecating comedians, these women are, to me, beautiful. So I find it very funny because I believe that she doesn't think she's attractive.
Well, I was going to say I agree with Sherry, and I'm glad that she brought it up because I didn't want to be the first one to bring it up or make people think that's the main reason why I got into her. But I do also like that, Nikki Glaser and Amy Schumer are both self-deprecating, but Nikki more so in a way that doesn't make you, think she's, losing touch with regular people or cares more about fame than anything. Or, I mean, she's never said anything that made you question her judgment or, most importantly, her self-awareness on or off stage. So that makes her relatable too.
Her legs are amazing. The dress she was wearing for the monologue.
All her dresses.
She dressed well for what she has. Like, she dressed really well.
And that pink dress where all her dresses were on point. She is way more gorgeous. Yeah, they did a great job with her dresses. And she's just, and Amy Schumer was the same way. And I'm like, this woman is a knockout. But I get it. They're comedians. They're all kind of self-deprecating. None of them ever think they're good looking. So I found it very funny.
Yeah, Nikki Glaser and Amy Schumer both self-deprecating, but Nikki more so in a way that doesn't make you, think she's, losing touch with regular people or cares more about fame than anything. Or, I mean, she's never said anything that made you question her judgment or, most importantly, her self-awareness on or off stage. So that makes her relatable too.
women, but especially comedians, guys do it too, just very, very much don't see themselves as attractive. So I just had to fit that in there because I thought she looked absolutely stunning last night, especially.
These women
So
come off as abrasive sometimes, but it's so important that they exist. It's so important that women have like a voice like that and they're saying body stuff like constantly that makes some people uncomfortable. Like I think that's so important to have that. Like I'm really glad. I'm really glad that the Tom Brady roast happened and that she nailed it the way she did. Because I didn't see the whole thing, but the clips I saw, she owned that room. Like she had that room in the palm of her hand. I was like, whoa, Nikki Glaser's a professional. Like, whoa, she's an assassin. Oh, respect to Nikki Glaser. Okay.
Next female comedian they have on has to be, they have to have Ali Wong host the show. Really?
Is she still dating Bill Hader? Is that still a thing?
Yes.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, they've been together for 3 years now.
My friend saw them walking in LA like a year ago, right before the fires. They were like, she's like, guess who I saw? I'm like, who? Because we were just talking about. She's like, Bill Hader now. I'm like, what? Oh my god, did you say hi? Did you tell him I said hi? And she's like, no.
I know we could get on a tangent about all the women we'd like to see on the show, but
What's the last female stand-up that hosted? Does anyone know? The last female stand-up?
I asked Casey this, and he came up with the same answers as me. Io Debris apparently did stand up, but I don't really count her because she's not doing it anymore.
Right.
But we're talking female.
Female.
Amy Schumer has done it 3 times.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Damn it. I missed it. Whoa. No. Well, we're ladies. SNL ladies. Wow. 10 female stand-ups in 50 years. That's yeah. I'm sure it's
And then Tiffany Haddish in the last 10 years.
I hope Amy
and there's
comes
only
back.
10 total because thank you, Saturday Night Network. They put up
I really like Amy.
something on Instagram about the 10 stand-ups, 10 female stand-ups in 50 years. What the heck? So something to think about. I didn't mean to get us on this random tangent, but yeah, there needs to be more. Yeah, and look at the graphic they have of all the stand-ups. It's like at least 40 guys and the 10 women. So I just hope we see more women. I hope Nikki comes back, and I hope she's set a precedent. I hope Amy comes back. I would love to see Allie. I have not watched her stand-up yet, but I'm going to. I would love to get Margaret Cho on here. I mean, there's so many funny women.
Of course, her latest special, she actually refers to Bill. Not naming him, but...
Well, he's a major part of her life now, so of course she's going to mention him. All right, so are we ready? Speaking of Nikki and sketches and holding her own and creepy things, are we ready for our next sketch? Sorority meeting? All righty. Well, I can kick us off. As soon as I saw them in sorority sweatshirts, you know what I thought of, Demi.
Delta, Delta, Delta.
Can I help you? And Nikki so much reminded me of one of the 3 of them in her bright yellow sweatshirt. It reminded me a lot of what the girls were wearing for the tryouts. So that was my first thought. And then there was the hyper realistic female mask wearing frat boy. I was sure it was Tommy, and I was not alone. A lot of people in the live chat thought it was Tommy. And then at the end, we find out, no, it was Mikey. And a lot of people said they usually look for Mikey's arms, but I didn't notice his arm. So it really looked like Tommy just from the little bit in the eyes. But this was a creepy one. It is also something I could see a fraternity boy doing. As a sorority girl myself back in the day, I could totally see it. It was, I bought it hook, line, and sinker. It was definitely creepy, but it was believably creepy because, like I said, I could see it happening. And Nikki, kicks it off very funnily with the whole Thanksgiving party theme with the pilgrim hose. But respect to Indigenous peoples, which very, very funny. This whole paradigm we're trying to appropriation, yeah.
Like appropriate cultural representation of for the holiday. Yeah, it was you could tell she was playing somebody. She was playing somebody that she had like that she knows. I think.
Yeah, so yeah, I thought it was quite funny. And Demi, since you started, I can just slide on over to you with your opinions of it. And it sounds like you thought it was as funny as I did.
I did, Shari. Thank you. Yeah, it was very silly. What I thought was even funnier in the comments on Reddit, people were saying they never established why a guy was in a fraternity or in a sorority. And it's like it's not kind of self-explanatory. But I was like, oh, okay. Like a guy's trying to stick in a sorority, like it's not that's like Animal House. Like it's like that's like tale as old as time. That's like what that's like a thing. And everybody was like kind of confused. Like, why would he be there in the first place? I don't get it. Like, okay, because there are girls there. Like, that's
Yeah, they did the whole thing about the bikini car washes and him sitting in the garage with the towels over him. Duh. I got it. And I'm older.
well, I don't know what it was, but it was but I thought it was very silly. I thought it really could have gone to a transphobic direction, like making fun of like men dressed as women. But it was so the mask was so stupid, like so like almost terrifying, like Michael Myers. That it was like I'm just trying to sneak in and be not noticed. Like, what? Who? And then just the blatantly horrible mask and just the not even attempting to like try to blend in. Very, very white chicks, very low budget white chicks, which is like an iconic movie. I think we could all agree. Yeah, it was just really surface level silly, and I thought Nikki was a great executor of that and kept it very centered and like very sorority centered. So I liked it for that for sure.
Oh, and fun fact that White Girls was filmed in
That
Vancouver.
is a very fun fact.
The sorority meet. Who else other than me could not figure out who was in the mask?
Me, definitely, because, at first the face suggested Tommy, and to me it looked less like white chicks and more like Rocky Dennis in Mask. So the face suggested Tommy. The voice was a bit generic, but eventually I put together from the voice that it was Mikey.
I was listening to the Hot Take Show on Saturday
lots of
that they were mentioning that I think I can't remember was it James or was it Veronica? Yeah, it was Veronica who was able to tell who it was by his arms. But yeah, that mask was freaky. We always have to have a suspension of disbelief when it comes to SNL sketches because you sort of have to. A lot of this stuff not realistically happen because that was obviously fake. Of course, going underneath. Apparently, there was a malfunction with the vape on the live sketch. And just the ending was a nice twist. At first, I was thinking, oh, they did really a really good cowboy switch, which is when they go out of frame or someone goes out of frame and someone just pops up. So it's like the stunt guy falling down and then he just pops up afterwards. So that's a standard kind of stunt technique.
I actually could not believe that. I thought it was a pre-tape. I was like, what? Like that must have been. I was like, how? It's just face off. What's happening?
But yeah, it was another great way to get all the ladies out there and make use of it, make use of everybody. So they are really just. I'm still impressed by the fact that they still have a good mix and blending of cast members. Some weeks, some people shine, like Ashley did last week. This week, other people will shine as well. So it's just good. It's still been some people have smaller parts, some people have larger parts, but still, I just feel that everybody is getting their screen time.
Yeah, and everybody's talking about, oh, not as much Marcello. And I'm like, that's because Marcello had his time in the sun. And I think he's probably purposely didn't submit a lot of stuff, giving other people a chance. They're very respectful of one another, I like to think. And when they get a bunch of episodes where they're the star, they're able to like pull back. So he wasn't in this one as much, which I thought was fine.
And there are times, and listening to the Live from New York book, there are times when when they're doing the meeting for the final selections, they will sometimes select the sketch if someone hasn't had a lot of screen time. So it's something that they do take into effect once in a while.
I'll just chime in to say I liked how intensely specific and weird this sorority meeting premise was right from the get-go, to the point where it felt like something modern SNL would otherwise never attempt without this host, or at least without Sarah being in the cast. I liked how Ashley was just straight up shamed for being the only one catching on to Mikey's ruse, and I liked even more how they soldiered on with this sketch in the face of a crucial prompt malfunction where they're just describing things that you cannot see, even if they put the dress version of this up on YouTube, and the like flawlessly edited and executed cut to Nikki pulling off her mask to reveal this Muke saying, "Your secret's safe with me, bro." That made up for everything.
Perfect ending. Perfect ending. Yeah, that was a. You're doing great. It's getting late for us East Coasters. Yeah. But yes, I agree with both of you. I love the ending. I thought the endings tonight were particularly strong. There weren't as many of those dumb buttons for some product or another. So I thought there were some nice endings that sort of wrap things up nicely. And speaking of wrapping things up, we're getting toward the end, gang. So we're headed to pre-tape number 3, which was an SNL animated short created by Mikey and Streeter. And they did one last year that was quite popular. I think it was something like Designing New York. And this was Brad and his dad. And I found out that the voices were indeed Brad was Mikey and dad was Streeter. And I didn't go into finding out all the secondary voices, but I was a child of divorce. I don't know about the rest of you here, but this really, really, really resonated with me because I did stuff with my dad, and my dad would drag me to all kinds of movies and take me out to TGI Fridays or whatever random chain, and there would always be a bunch of other dads with their kids there. So this one just really really resonated with me. I don't know, Demi and Deej, you said you're also children of divorce. Did you relate as well?
A little bit, but my sister is different. I have 2 older sisters. The oldest one I don't talk to because we just oil and vinegar. We just don't get along. My middle sister is the one I have the most connection with, and the way it happened was I decided to go with my mom, and they stayed with my dad due to various reasons. Um, so it wasn't quite the more traditional divorce, but and sometimes divorce is not a bad thing. Sometimes, because at least for me at the time, I've always been kind of it, I didn't speak up very well for myself when I was younger. I was bullied until pretty much grade 10, and it got to the point where it was after the divorce that I actually started advocating for myself a bit more. The way I did it was there was two guys who'd had lockers near me who kept bugging me, and eventually I just got pissed off. I just basically pushed the one guy into his locker.
Bronco ride was like, I love that, but I gotta say, like, I love this so much. I love it when SNL takes a risk and they go sentimental and thoughtful and not funny. They do it so rarely, like maybe once every 5 seasons. It's very rare that they do something like this, and like not as a 10-1 either. Like kind of second half, but still. But it was such a thoughtful. I thought the animation was original. We've all seen animated shows all growing up with pop culture. It wasn't The Simpsons. It wasn't Family Guy. It wasn't South Park. It was its own unique thing. It was Adult Swim worthy. I thought the commentary on a dad desperately trying to connect with his son and not knowing how to do it, and like this young guy is just on video games and like does not want to break away, and the guy's like, no, I only have a weekend, let's do this. And like he's going through the motions, and you can tell the dad really loves his kid, but he doesn't know how to connect. And then it ends when they're both playing video games together. I thought it was and then like he brings out a drone that from the grandma is like, oh, this is for me. that's such a 2025 commentary on something to do together. Like, I just thought that was I thought it was such a sharp commentary on young men and adult men and trying to, like, I didn't even know it was a divorced dad until the end because he's like, only happy for the week. I'm like, oh, that's why he's trying so hard to make a moment happen. He doesn't really know how to do it. So I thought it was really sweet because you could tell, I thought the dad was Shane Gillis for sure. Because it sounded like a stand-up, but I guess I was way off. But I really like it when SNL takes it. For me, it's a risk because there's no punchline there. So I really appreciated everything about it, and I could see it as a series. I thought it was really original and really well executed, and it had something to say, and it was just funny enough that it wasn't maudlin. So I just thought it was great.
Yeah, it very harkens back to when they go to the wacky side of it with the Adam Grossman sketches at the Benihana's.
Of all the odd one-off attempts at animated segments SNL tried to get off the ground in the post-TV Funhouse era, this was one I definitely liked the most because it clearly had the most effort and thought and care put into it since any previous animated segment put on SNL since Robert Smigel was producing them regularly. It felt a lot. Visually, I couldn't even tell this is one in a series that Mikey and Streeter did because it was so visually different from the New York one and the one with Timothy Chalamet as Zeus. This felt a lot. It felt different and a lot more heartfelt than anything we've seen on SNL since at least the Jack Handy era. I will go as far to say I got legitimate Kids in the Hall vibes from this, and visually it reminded me a lot of these two specific Adult Swim shows, China, Illinois, and Brad Neely's Harg Nolans Sclopio Pipio, which is an actual title of an Adult Swim show. The best moments for me when Brad's dad is trying to get him outside and he just takes a headset and says, hey, he's got to get off. Like he says to someone, first of all, you don't say that word ever. And that doesn't even make sense because I'm white. And then the scenes at the playground and the drone, especially a callback in the end. I get how the football scene gave people some nice, warm Peyton Manning flashbacks, but it didn't quite hit the same for me, pun none intended, yet unavoidable.
All right, so I guess we're ready to move on to the last two sketches of the night, both live sketches. And as someone who's getting ready to get on an airplane in a couple weeks, yeah, things are not great over here in the States with the airlines because of the shutdown. So I expected something talking about that issue. And we got pilot announcement. So I'm gonna go ahead down to Casey. I'm gonna let you kick us off, Casey. What did you think about pilot announcement?
Well, I have been wanting to see more J.J. character pieces or just non-Trump sketches with him as the main focus. It wasn't like a hard new wacky character, not like a signature character, but he did well with the role he was given here, and I like Cam as his much more wild co-pilot, giving him sexting advice, even if he didn't exactly steal the scene. And with as many sketches set on delayed flights with rambling pilots and sketches about dating apps and sexting in general the show did in recent years, JAJ had the chops to elevate this into something more unique. And this also might have been Sarah's best performance all night. I know she's just reacting to something, but we saw something new, a new side of her. I liked how she at least showed she's capable of having a similar type of chemistry with Andrew Dismukes. Not quite what the chemistry he's shown to have with Ashley Padilla, but something similar to the point where they can bring each other just barely noticeably close to the brink of breaking. I like Keenan and Bowen just silently gesticulating to each other as J.J. describes specifically what type of gay man or woman he wanted advice from. And I like Nikki taking a step back here to let the regular cast shine in this.
Completely agree, Casey. I do agree. I think Nikki did a really good job marshaling, no pun, the players and like being a really solid, reliable straight man for everything else to work. But what I love about these kinds of sketches when SNL does sketches like this, it was very similar to the couple that just hooked up. When SNL takes a topical, really serious issue, like the shutdown in both instances, but really it's not about the shutdown. It's about this guy wanting to get a text back from this girl. Like I love it when SNL takes a big concept and they make it really personal to one person. And it's not even about the shutdown. It's about so she posted to her story, so she is online, and now I want to die. Like everybody can relate to that. Everybody can relate to that. It's so stupid and so petty that a pilot would be. But that's at the end of the day, that's we've all been there. We've all been a really important thing. We're really just waiting for that text back. Like that is it. That is the only thing that matters. So I really love it that they turned a really federally important issue into one guy. And the end, it may have been seen as an out, but he's like, well, I'm just gonna drive there instead. Like he's not even gonna fly. He's just gonna like drive the plane like a car like that. I thought that was one of the best endings as to whoever said that before. Was it Casey or Shari or Deej? I don't know, but I agree that endings were really strong this episode. I thought that was really good. And again, Nikki serviced the sketch really well, and you knew she was there, but she let the cast shine, like Casey said. And I was really well executed. I really liked it overall a lot.
Yeah, this definitely worked for me because James has such a great voice, and I love that throughout this whole thing, he never ceased with the pilot voice. And the great thing and he was actually used in an episode of Barry. Barry was off to kill Kusano. Barry, this is after a time jump, he's turned to religion, and he's going through different religious podcasts to find something that will justify him going to kill. And so the first one they have is David Wingo, who is the composer for the series. He was the second podcast voice in that episode. And then the final one was Bill Burr. When Bill was proposing, so I want to do like a Bill Burr, right? It's like, well, I know Bill Burr. Why don't we just get Bill Burr? And that was the one. That was one that convinced them that, yep, I can kill the guy now. I love the silent communication between Bowen and Keenan. Like they didn't say anything, but you knew exactly what was going on. I'm opening up to Cam Patterson. He was doing a lot of good stuff there. This was definitely a James Austin Johnson showcase that he deserves more of because he is more than Trump.
Okay, I agree, but we're all just like very much on the same page, which is amazing for four people to be like kind of pretty much very tuned into one another. So
yeah, two old broads cool. And two young ones.
But it's interesting how we've all got a lot of the same I feel like we were all pretty positive on this whole episode, but we'll get to that in a minute. Got one more sketch. I knew this was going to be a long one because whenever there's more than like three people, it gets a little longer, but I'm glad we all have really great takes on everything. So I'm so pleased Casey came on. This has been a lot of fun. So we've got our last sketch to talk about, Pinwheel, which is a children's show with Nikki as as a young girl who's now grown up, and she's saying goodbye to her magical land and her special characters. And here we go, more Ben. He didn't have a huge part in here, but I thought the squirrel getup was very cute. I thought he pulled it off quite well. I thought all the costumes in here were great, but this was a Mikey Jeremy spotlight. They both were very funny here as they wax poetic about pinwheels. I loved it because when I was a little girl, I was fascinated by pinwheels. So I get why they were so fascinated. And I love that Bowen gets to deliver his Bowen line of like, will you just shut up? I love when he does that. He like keeps things moving along in a very funny way. So this was another hit for me. I watched a lot of children's shows when I was young. In fact, I am getting ready to apply to a conference that's in honor of Mr. Rogers. And I was such a Mr. Rogers kid. And I love anytime Saturday Night Live takes on shows like Barney and things like that. So I thought this was quite funny and quite cute. And Mikey and Jeremy had a really nice chemistry. So a thumbs up for me. What did you think, Deej? Was this a winner for you too?
Oh, Mikey and Jeremy were so adorable. And I love towards the end where you can definitely tell they're both really getting extra with the pinwheel, trying to get them to break. It's such a great. Everyone's just so adorable. Especially just the guys with everyone like Anna, Anna. Jeremy is another one I'm really loving from the new cast members. Very strong Bobby Moynihan vibes. Again, I don't want to keep comparing to SNL people past, but it's kind of hard not to. But he's been doing a lot of great stuff, and just they were totally into the character and just really going crazy with the pinwheel. And the ending was, and this is when she decided not to have children.
Well, yeah, that's good. I don't have much to say on this. I mean, I liked how committed to this Mikey and Bowen and Nikki were, and I like that Jeremy's getting a standout role for once. I mean, I hate to break off from you guys since Shari was talking about how much we're all on the same page, but I wasn't that into this. I mean, I could tell, what children's books and shows is like a cross between Narnia, Alice in Wonderland, and Winnie the Pooh. Pick out the shades of those in there, but I'm just not that into sketches where one character tries to dominate the whole discussion with their obsession of one thing, like the K-pop Demon Hunters with Bad Bunny. But this sketch reminded me of a couple of Fred Armisen sketches from the late 2000s, like the Calculator sketch at Christmas with John Malkovich from December of 2008. They just want to add so many numbers together with a calculator. And the Sparkling Apple Juice song with Bryan Cranston from October 2010, which wasn't great. I like what they put into it, but just fundamentally, it's not the type of sketch that I'm always into.
You know what? And that's okay. We can't always be on. I was surprised how much on the same page we are. So it's good. It's good that you threw a little differentiation in there, Casey. And now I think we're ready to do our out of tens. And I think we're gonna do pinwheels tonight, Deej, because you did it on the chat, and I thought that was great. Now I'll start us off. This was definitely for me a really good night. I didn't think anything was gonna be as good as Polar for me. And this one was. I'm giving it 8 out of 10 pinwheels, and I'll leave it at that. I'll pass it off to Demi.
Same chat scores I gave last night. I gave it 7.5 out of 10 pinwheels. I was really pleasantly surprised by how solid the episode was.
And I'm going for 7.9 pinwheels because it was Nikki Glaser could come back anytime. I really want to see her host again. She should have been a host on this way sooner. But no, she was game for everything. You definitely tell she worked well with everybody. So yes, Nikki Glaser is I want her to be a 5-timer someday.
And I'll go 8 out of 10 pinwheels because they, tried some new things. They swung for the fences. Not everything hit the right way for me. Nikki was a great host. She should return. Overall, I'd say this episode delivered everything I was hoping for from any episode hosted by a new stand-up comedian that's not a heavily divisive figure, and that a unique presence that delivers a creative spark in the process and encourages them to try out new ideas they wouldn't otherwise try. I'd even go so far as to say that I got the same thing out of this that I got from John Mulaney's first couple episodes in 2018, 2019, which is more impressive when you think about the fact that Nikki didn't quite have the home field advantage that John did, and that she hadn't spent like 4 or 5 years writing for the show. So it was a strong episode, best of the season so far, even without some of my biases creeping in. And I would definitely like to see Nikki return as soon as next season.
Okay. Well, I think it's time to wrap things up. Thank you, Casey, for joining us. To have you on from this is all the fun people behind Wacky Notion Productions. We're going to have Demi. We're recording this Tuesday for the next We Heart Hater, where we're doing our You each pick out 5 episodes from season 32 that we really like. So we're recording on Tuesday. We'll have Debbie joining us for that. So yay!
Thanks,
Okay,
Deej.
so for everybody, Saturday Night Ladies, just remember, no matter how bleak the world may seem, go forth and find the funny. Saturday Night Ladies is a presentation of Wacky Notion Productions. Hosted by Deej Behrens and Sherry Fesco. Recording and editing by Deej Behrens. Research provided by Sherry Fesco. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, just email wackynoprods@gmail.com. And please remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment.